here can watch it, or you guys can watch it later. So,
Sure.
Welcome. My name is Sherman. I'm the founder of the Blockchain Hub. We're also here at the co-working space of the Ethereum offices, and once in a while we organize a meetup. So the way this meetup happened is that, I was approached by Martin Kuppelmann, who and he said that they just gave a big funding to one of his, we'll hear about it, projects that he's been working on for a while, Circles, which is a UBI blockchain. And then 3 weeks ago we were in Leipzig at the Synapse Festival, and ran into another team that is organizing or working on a UBI blockchain. So I thought it would be very interesting to get the presentations of the two approaches and then have the two teams to discuss with each other and together with us, and we will have some room for Q&A to find out why they chose different approaches and why they think a certain approach might be better than another one. I think that's the best way for us to learn what's happening. I'm very excited, do you want to come and do the first presentation? So we'll have roughly 10 minutes presentation, then a small Q&A per project. We'll do the two projects after each other, then we'll have a break at some point, and then we'll have a panel discussion. So, sorry, I've had an intense week. My brain is like shutting down. I have to see.
Classical.
Yeah, it's like reboot. Is one ring up? Yep.
So first a little bit to the motivation, why I'm doing this project. So imagine, no matter where on earth you are born in life, rich or poor, you have the freedom to eat whatever you want. You have the freedom to sleep wherever you want. You have the freedom to travel as far as you wish. You have the freedom of choice. This is our goal, making life exciting for everyone. So let's do it. How? We discovered 3 key zeitgeist ingredients: global basic income, transportation flat rates, and crypto crowdfunding. We believe a global basic income should be growing from bottom up, and everybody's responsible for it. So you and me, individuals, businesses, entrepreneurs, and municipalities. Each of the stakeholders has their own responsibility, their own tasks. So what about individuals? The individuals define how many basic incomes are generated. It's sponsorships. We sponsor the other person. So for each 10 euro subscription, you're sponsoring 1 mini basic income, which will be like the Mein Grundeinkommen project, randomly distributed. What's the task of the entrepreneurs? The entrepreneurs grow the basic income. So for every purchase, for every goods and services, they select a cashback percentage, which is equally distributed between all recipients. So like this, you're growing it slowly, and it's getting larger and larger over the years. Municipalities. They can, at full cost control, run experiments like they're already doing in Finland, and raise the mini basic incomes, which we are distributing, to a high level at the local level where it's useful for them. So what's the incentives for all stakeholders? For every euro you are sponsoring into the project, you can collect points and increase your social branding. So each of the three stakeholders. They can, yeah, I said it. So let's crunch the numbers. What's possible with transaction fees actually? Already today, if you would take 1% of every transaction on the world, this would be equals to $100 for everyone in the world. Like this crunch, completely finishing poverty, the worst poverty in the world. And since transaction volumes is growing by 5 to 7% each year, we can estimate purchasing powers up to 250 in 2050. If you are ramping it up, you can see yourself. So what's our social business model behind that? Of all turnover we are generating, we want to split it in two different parts. The bigger one, 75% for the global basic income and 25% into transportation flat rate infrastructure. How do we get started? Two-stage funding and initial token offering, of course. And a big vision requires, of course, a big budget. So why not the 1 billion ITO record attempt? We have to, of course, prepare properly and start with a private pre-sale of 1 million to fund a small team, and then next summer or later go for the big goal. So how is our token for this campaign designed? We call it a human, or HMN. There will be 1.11 billion tokens. They have a yearly inflation of 5% and a 5% transaction fee, which will be distributed into the basic income and the transportation flat rate. The global basic income will be then paid out in human and not in euro anymore. And you will need a human to access the flat rate infrastructure. The inflation will not be distributed as basic income, but only reinvested into the flat rate infrastructure. How are the tokens distributed? The first 11 million in the first private pre-sale, 100 million for the partners and team, 500 million on the crowd sale, and the other 500 million for Ovie in order to further expand the flat rate infrastructures. For the private pre-sale, we want to feed a team of 6 to 8, create an animation explain video by Kurzgesagt. Kurzgesagt is in a nutshell. They are really well in compacting complex projects into really visual explanations. Of course, an emotional commercial campaign clip. The biggest part, legal and tax. And of course, additional costs, which I'm not coming up yet. The public crowd sale, 100 million will be used to further expand the basic income infrastructure, and 900 million will be invested into solar electro car transportation flat rate. There's a Munich startup called Sono Motors. They developed a solar electro car, which will go into mass production in 2019. So, with this big campaign, we can fund 50,000 solar electro cars to cover 10 cities and offer it at a flat rate for €100 a month. So what's our short-term milestones? September, we started with the first mini sponsorings. So the first 4 mini basic incomes are already out. The MVP is running. In hopefully November or December, we will start with ramping it up, so to make from €10 to 11 with some sponsorings. And for the end of the year or the beginning of next year, we want to go for the private pre-sale. Long-term roadmap, as said before, 2019, we plan for the solar transportation flat rate in 10 cities. 2020, we want to reach the €25 for 1 million people. 2025, 100 cities. 2030, 100 euro for 1 billion people. 2050, 10 billion people. All the way up, what's possible. What we need in the team in order to gain traction and finish the next steps successful are those 4 key points at the moment. Whoever wants to help with that is welcome. And there you go. You can sign.
So that was quite quick. I think less than 10 minutes. I do have a lot of questions actually. I didn't realize that you're planning an ICO. Can you answer a few questions to the product? I mean, the last question, there was just one slide with the flat rate that comes to me. I have a lot of other questions, but maybe you guys can ask them. But the flat rate, so basically, as a token holder, you have access to these solar cars, which is a like car sharing.
No, it's just like you need to have the token in order to pay for the flat rate. So the flat rate will cost.
Okay.
So the flat rate is just 100 euros, but you have to pay it in those tokens in order to make the token attractive for investors.
But if you participated in a token sale, you already hold them.
You already hold them, so you can always pay for your flat rate. But if you don't have tokens, you have first to buy the tokens.
Maybe my brain is fried because those who work with me know it's quite intense right now with what we're doing. Can you delve on the universal basic income aspect of
In
this?
what way?
So my question would be regarding the inflation rate. If you can specify the inflation rate.
So basically the main thing how the basic income is funded is not by the inflation rate, but by the transaction fees. And the inflation rate will be used for the flat rate infrastructure.
I did understand that. But for those who might not understand the inflation rate, can you explain that? So my impression was, I do know a little bit about universal basic income. I don't know if everyone is like up to speed. So the first part was very quick.
Sorry.
We will hear the next project, but maybe you can just slowly walk us through again the universal basic income aspect of it and how inflation is determined. And then you also have a question.